forgiven my father for what he did. And I can look back at it now. It was that unforgiveness that kept me in bondage. Forgiveness is a choice that a person makes to give up their rights for negative thoughts and giving their offender consequences. When people forgive, depression lifts, anxiety begins to go away. A lot of things begin to happen when people forgive. Didn't want anything to do with her. And at age 30, I got a mom. But I had to forgive first. Then Father, in his love and trust, he said, now, go over there. I grew up in a broken home. My father had an anger problem. He shocked with a cow prod. I remember those days. I remember his anger. We always kind of lived in fear of him. I also had a stepmother. She took care of us. She was a great lady. She took care of us, but none of us kids really attached to her. It was very difficult to attach. And I was raised to hate my biological mother. And so I grew up in life never really bonding or attaching to anybody. And of course, you don't know that you don't know you have issues. I remember in 1984 watching my father die and wondering, did you really love me? Did I matter? And then a few years later, when I was in graduate school, working on at Southwestern Seminary, we were going through some counseling for ourselves. I was in a counseling program, and I got in touch with some anger that I never realized I had. It was towards my father. And it was like God saying, now you have to deal with you. And all this anger came out. I was shocked that it was inside of me. And when I realized, as I processed through the anger, that I have never forgiven my father for what he did. And I can look back at it now. It was that unforgiveness that kept me in bondage to my insecurities, and bondage to my dysfunctional way of thinking. It kept me in bondage to a lot of things. It was 5 years later that I actually forgave him. And so I want to spend some time talking about what is forgiveness. And the way I like to do that is by using John chapter 8 as my launching point, if I will. You know, Jesus is in the temple. He's teaching a class, and in the midst of teaching the class, I'm sure he heard a high-pitched female voice with a lot of angry male voices. And I'm sure you know the story. While he's teaching this class in the temple, the scribes and Pharisees show up with a woman caught in adultery. And they bring her before Jesus, and they ask a question. Jesus, this woman was caught in the act of adultery. Moses in the law commanded she should be stoned. What do you say? Scripture says they asked the question to test him. He didn't answer the question. He stooped down and began to write in the dirt. Whatever he wrote, we don't know.